Hello, my name is Casey Kelsey, and welcome to the Binge-worthy podcast. This is our very first episode, and in this episode, we are going to review the Netflix original series, Bridgerton. I am joined here by my co-host, Star Lee.
Hi.
And LaRasha Simon.
Hello, it is still me.
All right, cool. So we kind of agreed to do Bridgerton because everyone pretty much seen it already. It's still in the top 10 Netflix shows. And yeah, it's just one of those things that we felt we can just kick off with. And also just a heads up for anyone that hasn't seen a show that we might review in the near future, or a movie, there will be spoiler alerts. All right, so let's just get right into it. I think considering that this film was shot in the 1800s, there are a lot of things that are considered, not typical or not traditional and unorthodox. For one, the diversity of the cast is one of the things that we all said that stood out to us the most. Even like reviews online said that that was one of the things that really, really stood out about this film. For starters, having a black queen, right? Having a black queen and the main character marrying a black man. And like I said before, in their world, they don't really see color the way that we see color. And I applaud the film for doing that, actually, because that's kind of a risk. As a filmmaker, if you step into the past, people, they like to see things that are accurate,
Real quick, I just wanted to say, I do think it's accurate because if you look at like African ancestry, there were kings, there were queens. Now, in that time period is definitely more whitewashed down, but I do think there are actual moments in history where there are people who are of color, who are brown, have melanin, that were dukes and duchesses,
Yeah.
duchess, whatever, and kings and queens. It's just not talked about because that is not the history we live in.
So that was. Let me rephrase. That was what I was trying to hit on. I wouldn't say that it was accurate necessarily. I was just saying, considering
for sure,
for it to be a TV show and in filmmaking, it's not something that it's unconventional. We don't see it a lot.
Yeah. Because it's not comfortable for some viewers.
Keep it going, because the next season also, like the love interest, she purposely made of color. I think of it like Southeast Asian descent, and I don't know if that was like that in the books, but like I'm not mad at the decision.
And speaking of the books, there's like 11, right? There's
it's each sibling, and then there's there's a book that ties it up. I can't find them like on ebook or anything, but
sold out by now. Wait, Star, aren't you reading one? I thought you said you were reading one.
I didn't read it for the first time ever. I didn't read the books before I watched the series.
Look at you. Proud of you. Proud of you.
Say what? No, I'm just kidding.
I did it. I just started watching the show and I got hooked and I couldn't stop and there was no turning back.
Getting back onto the things that, unorthodox was just the characters. So some of the characters. Who was the sister name? What was her name again?
Eloise.
Yeah, she was kind of like badass. She did not care about like the social norms. She thought outside the box. I love that she was curious. And she wasn't trying to be married off. She was trying to do her own thing. And I respect that. And she reminds me a lot of like the women today. So it was kind of refreshing seeing her in the film.
I mean, you also think about like how in society the mother's duty was to prep her children or her daughters for like marriage, or the season is what they call it. And her mom was like, yeah, you can sit up for a year, but next season, I'm going to need you to come on back.
Which, I don't know. I don't think, I haven't read the book, so I don't really know what happens. But like, do you all believe that she's even going to be ready for the next season? based on her character
Well,
development
no.
I
now.
feel like she's gonna fight it.
I mean, I don't feel like they're going to touch on Eloise for like a hot minute because the next series is supposed to focus on Anthony.
Okay.
And then I'm pretty sure it's the other brother,
Anthony.
then the second eldest sister, third eldest sister. I can't remember what her name was because then highest, whatever her name is last. So it's probably going to be a minute. Maybe she goes to university. Who knows?
I can see that. I can really see that.
Yeah.
Or maybe she teams up with her best friend once she finds out.
I feel like if she does find a guy, it will be someone who treats her as an equal. I can't see her going through with that any other
that
way.
will be a really good twist.
Wait a minute.
That would be a really nice twist.
I just remember something. So in one of the books, they do find out who Lady Whistledown is, but it's also tied to Colin, which is Eloise's third oldest brother. So I think it's wrapped up in that. Again, the books are hard to come across, so I don't know.
I might have to take one for the team and read them.
You do that,
Yes.
Star.
Give us the footnotes.
Because I will not. You go ahead and do that. Because I would just stick with the TV shows. I don't think I want to go through all that. Trying to find the book and read it. Nah, good. That's what Spark Notes is for.
Oh my. Back in the day, reminiscing. Love it.
So another thing that I caught and you all caught, and anyone that watched Bridgerton, hopefully you guys caught that as well, was the classical covers to the modern music. I thought it was a very, very nice touch. There was Thank You Next by Ariana Grande, Billie Eilish, or is it Eilish? Eilish.
Oh wow, yeah, it was Bad Guy.
Yeah, that's my violin. And they were placed at like the perfect time.
Yes.
Perfect time. So like I have here in my notes, like particularly for the Ariana Grande one, it was when they went to the first ball. And he was her brother was introducing her to all these men, and it was like very like a bit like great symbolism. I don't know. And it's like, thank you, you know, the song, and she's just like, no,
next,
no.
And I love that because I didn't pick up on it the first time, and then when I watched it for the second time, I was like, dang, this is like the perfect moment.
You know what's great about music is like I think that was the reason why in like A Different Life I wanted to go into scoring, because music makes you feel or think about like the other picture that's happening within the scene. And so, and anytime they added like Thank You Next or like In My Blood, whatever those lyrics of the song, you're thinking like, yeah, this is the emotion I have when I'm watching this character live her life, because her brother was tripping for a minute about people
the whole time.
It's like halfway through the season he finally came around.
Yeah, but not even when he was supposed to. The mom checked him and was like, do your job. And also, what time do you have? Because your father would have done a better job. And then he messed it up again.
He chose to be responsible at the wrong time.
Yes.
And he did it with the wrong intentions, and that irritated me. Like, why would you try to marry your sister off to this creeper?
So just tracking back to the song. I'm sorry to cut you off, but just tracking back to the song, I also thought it was a nice little touch too, because that was the first time she ran into, I call him the creep. I don't even know his name, but he was creepy.
Lord Burbrook.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
He was so creepy.
And then did y'all catch that line when he was like, do you remember? I remember you bicycle. I was something. And she's like, when I was 5.
Yeah.
So how old is he?
Yeah, he just made nasty. My skin crawl whenever he came on the screen. Like
him and his mama.
But wouldn't that considered being sort of like wouldn't normally that would have been okay at that time to date an older man like that?
Technically, I think kind of, yeah.
So that was also something that was different that they switched around for this woman, this young woman in the 1800s to say, you're a fucking creep. No. But in other movies and then other things that we hear about, it's okay.
I mean, that's literally written in any other love story. I'm trying to think of one. I don't have an example right now, but it's written like that in most stories.
I'm
So
sorry, I just have him in
I don't
my
know,
His
head
but
right
approach
now.
was just his approach was just like pervy and
yo,
I
can we just talk
cannot.
about real quick the moment when the Duke of Hastings was like, "You don't know my name."
Yeah.
When Daphne bumped into him, she's like, "Please tell me your name," because she was trying to get away from Lord Burbrook.
Burbrook.
And he was like, "Don't tell me, don't play with me. You know who I am. Come on now."
Savage.
But that whole reveal, I was like, "Ooh, who are you?"
I love that she didn't know
I
who
love
he
that
was.
too, because it kind of after that, because at first he thought that she was lying. You know, he was comparing her to other women, like, oh, they pretend like they don't know
He got a
who
little
I
cocky
am,
with it.
and yeah.
Right.
But when he found out she was telling the truth, it made it kind of
He was
switched
like,
him and made him a little more. He was
mm-hmm.
still cocky throughout,
Yeah,
but
his
it
mood
did
shift real
shift.
quick though.
Don't get it twisted. He was cocky through the whole season when he licked that spoon, eating that ice cream, when he knocked Laura Burbank out, when he said, "You're desperate" at the family dinner table. Come on now. He
Yeah,
remained
that was
cocky. He
funny.
said, "I will not marry you.
Yes.
I
But
cannot."
I loved it because they were just so brutally honest with each other. They just went in on each
That
other.
is complete facts. And then someone, I don't know if it was you, Larasha, or Star, but we were talking about this yesterday. You said, can we talk about the time how Hastings was late to everything?
Dude, yes. He was always late. They went to the picnic. He was late.
He
They was
was
at the
late.
bar. He was late. This man was
He just moved
always
on his own
Wait.
terms. That's it.
Yo,
yeah. And
back
then he
up, back
walk
up.
in like
He was on time one time. And the only time was he was trying to break it off with her the last ice cream date. Y'all remember
oh
that?
yeah, he was on time for that. When she was an inconvenient.
Yeah,
That
that was
was a
harsh.
trip.
That was harsh.
That was a trip.
But
He's a
you're right, that was
trip.
the only time.
He's the only person I've ever heard of in the 1800s to have a good pullout game, and this is where our podcast gets dirty. This is where our podcast gets a little dirty, guys. So watch your kids.
I laugh every
I
time.
mean,
He does.
here's what blew me. And we're gonna really dig deep into this. Her mom not only didn't tell her anything about sexual
She didn't
education,
prepare her.
not at all. But as he was continued to pull out, she was like, "Does that
Yes.
hurt?"
Okay. So let's get on to that then. Let's get on to that. There is a controversy. If you've been reading any of the reviews, that scene before or the scenes after when she found out how to make a baby, that sex scene was a rape, right? That's what everyone or those who want to pull that card
Many people
are saying
Yes.
it's that she raped him.
I think
it's a tricky
so.
scene.
Yeah, I think people were, at least in the articles that I read, and like in my classification of going through being like a Title IX, advocate or whatever, is the fact that he didn't give consent, and this is where the argument I think truly is. When they were having sex and she was on top, he said, "Oh wait, no." That is the line people were like, he said no, which means he no longer gave consent to what was transpiring. And she was like, "Nah, you playing.
Now I
I'm gonna finish and keep it moving." Now, there are different classifications when you're married and the whole thing was built on a lie, which again, we're gonna get into. But I think that is where the argument is. And that's where I'm like, well, he did say no. But if he didn't say that and he was enjoying it and he saw what was happening, then it is difficult.
And that's kind of where I stand as well. Is like just going back on like what led up to that moment. He's been lying to her, and she is completely ignorant about sex and how to conceive and all this other stuff. Yeah,
everything she learns is from
it's
him.
literally. I mean, again, we're getting a little dirty here. He taught her how to masturbate. right?
Yeah.
He's her
Yeah.
first, right? And then
Hmm.
first kiss,
First
first
kiss,
everything, and
first.
then on top of that, she finds out how to make a baby, and you told her,
Hmm.
you know, I can't. So this whole time she thinking like there's something wrong with you, and then when she finds out how to make a baby, you tell her, "Oh, I didn't know you didn't know how to make a baby." But
Because he really got the
yeah,
ball
but
rolling
this
on
is the thing about
everything.
me. This is the thing.
Yep.
Hastings, dude, you had so many red flags. So many red. You did, and just going back to
Damn.
what LaRasha said, I feel like the biggest red flag he should have, like, it was when she said, does that hurt? Like, you should have
Hmm.
stopped and said, okay, what do you know? Because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that's just like a bigger societal issue too. Like I think in conversations I have with folks, like the way I was raised, raised really religious growing up. My mom talked about sex like it was water. So while she wasn't like go out there in the streets, she was like, "You gotta know the basics at
Hmm.
least."
Yeah.
Her mom didn't even take the consideration to be like, "Yo, you need to protect yourself because there are people who will take advantage of you," which is exactly what he did.
Yeah.
And cover yourself. She had to go to her lady in waiting. Is that what it's called? Her like
Hmm.
that person that helped her in the house to be like, tell me how this actually works, and don't spare any details. I think that is a parent's uh, responsibility to teach their
Hmm.
children sexual education. Regardless of your opinions on it, make sure your children are educated so they can continue to teach that.
That's just ridiculous. She didn't know anything,
Yeah.
nothing.
And then like
Pure at heart.
when they found out like Marina Thompson
Pregnant, yeah.
Yeah.
was pregnant, and then Penelope was like freaking out because she's like, well, I
Love to
thought you
make a
had to be like
baby.
in
Yeah.
love. And then Eloise like walks in and she's like, how's a baby
Mhm.
made? And her mom just like shut the conversation down. And like that right there was an opportunity. So it's important. Teach your kids.
Wait, I have a side tangent real quick. Marina, that whole situation, I'm like, ma'am, if you had just, I don't know, I wish his brother had come out of the works a
Mhm.
long time ago because I
Colin.
feel like that would have spared a lot of people some hurt. Like Penelope is in love with Colin. Girl, you should have just said that. Say that. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. You're over here best friends with his sister, Eloise, but you won't say you're in love with Colin. And then when he's like, oh, Penelope, I want to have the last dance with you, she's like, no, I'm good. That doesn't make
She
any
was in her
sense.
feelings. She was in her feelings, you know.
I still like her though.
And then
I
Marina
do.
ends up going with the guy anyways. I'm like, girl, that was your best odd anyways. He said I was going to take care of you. I may not be who my brother was, but I'm going to make sure I'm owning up to what he ultimately put you in the situation of. I appreciate that. Yes, sir.
You are hilarious.
I'm just saying, I'm really passionate about that whole
So did you
situation.
agree with Penelope attempting to tell Colin that Marina was pregnant? Because I didn't know
Uh,
how to feel about that.
I don't think it was her business, to
I
be
don't either.
honest.
I think she did it with the wrong
Yeah.
intention. She did it because
Yes.
she liked him and she was mad, not because, well, she was genuinely concerned, but it was less that she was genuinely concerned versus I'm jealous. I don't want you with him. Let me tell him.
I
I didn't
think
think that
Yeah.
was her
she
place.
should have just told
Yeah.
regardless.
Yeah, I was like,
Even
I
the
if you're
mean,
way
going to
not
she
the
attempt to
did.
way
tell, you
she
need to
did,
tell. Like, all
but
of it.
I agree with you. I wish she had better intentions with telling him as a
Mm-hmm.
like I
Yeah.
don't know if I was in that situation and that's my best friend, I probably would have snitched.
Yeah.
I probably would have snitched.
Yeah.
Here's
And
the
that's what I'm
thing.
saying. Like, and she started to tell when they were in the hallway, but then she turned around and didn't. Like,
Hmm.
if you're gonna attempt to tell, just tell it all. Like, don't pull back. You know.
Yeah, I
I just
think
wanted her.
what blew me with her being like, well, the theory is that she's laid a lady whistle down. Um, is that she not only ruined his family in the process,
Sure
but did it
no.
to her own family, and then Marina was essentially put in exile and had to just go with said brother.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you ruined you were not helping anyone. And then you lost Colin in the process because now he's traveling abroad.
Yeah. Well, he got to come back sometime.
I mean, yeah.
I think he's my
But you're
favorite
right.
brother.
You're right.
Mm-hmm. He's the only one that
Colin?
has his head on
Yeah.
straight.
Yeah, he's the sweetest. Anthony, I can't with him.
Wait. Can we talk
I
about?
got hope for him for next season, but not this one.
I need us to talk about the second eldest brother. Did y'all pick up on them? I feel like were they insinuating that he was exploring his sexuality?
Oh,
I
the
think
painter.
so.
With
That's
the
what I took
guy?
from it.
Mm.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
he was dating the French seamstress.
I think they
Yeah.
were hinting to that because he's
Yeah.
obviously curious. He can't like let it go for one.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I found that interesting.
Yeah, because they were like all super subtle about it. I'm like, you could just say
Mm-hmm.
it. I mean, you don't have to if
Yeah,
you don't want to, but
but
you really
then
could just say it.
I see why they did it the way that they did it because of the time. You know,
Yeah, it's true.
we could say in
It was very
2020,
secretive.
well, not all of us, but in 2021, that just say it. You know, that's kind of the mentality that we have now.
Mm-hmm.
But like back then, that's like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
no, you don't say
Yeah.
it.
I mean, if you look at current government and administration and history, it doesn't lend itself to fully explore that option and to be free in its own right. But I do think that is a very interesting storyline because it starts a conversation of artistry, that individuality of exploring something true to you in the view of its own perspective. And I hope they explore that at some point. I don't know about where the books go, but in future seasons.
Have you all seen there's another show called
Downington
I've heard
Abbey?
of it, but
Yeah.
Is it Downtown? I don't
Yeah.
know what it is.
I think I've been saying it wrong. I thought it was Downington Abbey.
You're probably 100%
no, you're probably
right. I've only
correct.
heard about this. I've never seen the show, but actually a colleague of mine was like, that show is better, and Bridgerton is nothing but a clone of that show.
I mean, to be fair, Downington Abbey had a really long run, and then they made it into a movie. Mind you, it was on BBC, and half of it wasn't accessible on like PBS and like whatever. It is in its own artistry. However, I think Bridgerton is relatable to like our generation of millennials and Gen X because it's Gossip Girl. That was like our thing growing up. Cinderella, you know, so many renditions of Cinderella and then tying it into like a period piece. I think that was our way to connect with that. And then other folks that really identify with Downington Abbey could have that as their thing. I don't think you need to like pit the two up against one another because they're very good in their own right.
Speaking of gossip, somebody
Lady
hit on
Whistleton.
yesterday. Again, I don't know who it was, either Star or Larasha, but it reminded them of how like, yeah, was that you?
Social media runs. Yeah, Lady W is like the shade room. Like,
yes, like
she
Black
puts something
Twitter
out there, and people just believe it, and they just take it in and run with it.
Yeah,
It's
that is
crazy.
true. That is very, very true.
It is
So
crazy.
just imagine, maybe that's how it went down. I mean, she wrote it was like this long article. She got busy.
She was up in she windy out
And it
here.
was
She
like,
was up in the business.
and what I
Sure
mean by like
was.
she wrote, she like down and dirty and just like super honest, always straight to the point. Like, okay, let's get right into it. Yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, because Lord Burbrook, she read him for filth.
Yo, that whole situation, how that played out though, was like some pure artistry though. Like, think about it. Her mom got together. She said after the queen was like, "Yeah, I'm not feeling the situation of them being engaged. Fix that." She said, "Okay, I'm gonna put on the tea, and we're gonna do what ladies do best: is gossip." And got the whole situation turned around. Wild.
No thanks to Anthony.
Okay.
You really don't like him, huh?
He
did a lot of things that probably pissed off a lot of people. Just starting off with setting her up with the creep. And then trying to kill the Dutch.
Yeah, he didn't want to do his job. Yeah.
That was pathetic, first of
That's
all.
illegal.
Well, I mean, he okay, in his defense, just the T-Nachi bit, Anthony was justified saying, like, you're gonna marry her because you ruined her.
Kiss
And
her.
Yeah.
her said girl had like saw them in the garden, and she would have been like SOL if they hadn't married, because she was already like doing a dual situation with the prince.
I feel that, but he had to punch him and all that. Anybody got time for that?
I
He was
mean,
a little too in his feelings. I'm sorry.
it happened. It happened.
And then I didn't feel bad for him, because at first I was rooting for him and Cena, the opera singer.
Did she have a mole?
And
I'm
then,
sorry.
like,
did she have a mole?
he just
Okay.
Yeah, she got a mole.
She did have a mole. Sometimes she
It was
drew it
there,
elsewhere,
and
but
then
yes.
Yeah.
it was like, where did
Yeah,
that
and then
come
it was
from?
Yeah.
But I felt
Yep.
bad for her. And then, like, at a point, I was like, okay, I'm rooting for them. But then at the end, when she turned him down and decided to stay with her little boo thing, her fiance or husband or whoever he was, I was like, you know what? Good for her. I was happy she didn't go back with Anthony, because he needed to get.
I kind of wanted them to get back together.
No, I mean, that was never going to be realistic.
She gave him so many chances,
but that was time. Like, he was serious this time.
No.
I don't know. I felt like I wish you would have just been.
He actually has to, like.
Yes, but I understand.
He needs to get married, like, for real, for real. 100%. I think that was, like, if his eldest, youngest sister got married, he's going to have to do the thing, you know?
Yeah. You know, I got hope for him. I got faith in him for next season. This season, you know, he learned a lot, you know.
Speaking of next season, when do y'all think they're going to start filming? Because, you know, we're still in a pandemic and things are being delayed, and I'm waiting on a lot of other shows to come out. But
they're probably going to start. Because, I mean, other shows, they're making, like, everything is, they're probably going to start. Probably not like soon, but they're definitely, because everyone else is doing it. Nobody's really following the pandemic rules anymore, which is very sad. People, please wear your mask. Thank you.
Please social distance, and if you're positive, stay home.
So I'm gonna wrap it up here.
Yeah. Wash your hands.
Is
sanitize.
Bridgerton, after everything we talked about, is it binge worthy? Rasha.
100%. 100%, because I watched it. I'm on the 4th watch now.
You heard it,
watch.
Folks.
Yes, 100%.
You watched it 4 times. Really?
Yeah, I'm about on the 3rd watch. I love the costumes. I love the diversity.
Okay, I only watched it once.
Yes.
And I love a show where you can just watch it back.
Oh, you only watched it once?
I do think it's binge worthy, but is it like worth watching?
Okay.
Rewatch? Yeah.
Yes.
That's the lovely thing about that show, is you can rewatch it over and over. It's not one of those shows you like finish and you're like, I can wait a few years to watch this. It's like one of those shows where you're like, okay, let me give this a couple weeks and I'm gonna rewatch.
Not even a couple weeks, honey. I was on it. I was like, oh, I need to rewatch, because what else am I going to have on?
Some episodes I definitely rewatch for sure.
I'm sorry.
And just turn on just because.
In the background? You don't put stuff on in the background?
Yeah.
That's what HGTV is for.
Okay, so the thing is, like, no. I can't. Like, I have to give it some years before I can, like, rewatch stuff.
Yeah. I feel like that with big cinematic movies. For example, Interstellar. I literally can only watch it every couple of years because it's that deep. Bridgerton is like an easy watch. Like, it's like reading the Twilight series.
That was
I could do that
because you
very
guys
quickly.
I do not like Twilight.
Don't you dare!
That's terrible.
You dare, Casey!
Don't come.
My mom is gonna love
Edward,
this part.
Okay?
She loves the Twilight.
I do want to add, though.
I don't like the movies. We could do a review on that. Let's do a review on that one. Let's do it on the whole series.
Oh, well, she came out with a new book.
You don't like the movies?
Hold on, she came out with a new book in the fall, so we should do the throwback.
Save that conversation and table it.
Let's do it. Let's put it on the list. Twilight Saga.
Yeah. We are.
Y'all gonna hate me after that. I can tell you. I'm gonna rip up Twilight.
We can talk about that
All right.
too.
After
You
a
know,
certain
we're gonna talk about that too.
we'll get into it on another episode.
Because that was a heist memories.
I do want to say though, before we, going back to Bridgerton, I love Lady Dunbury. She's one of my favorite characters. She's a beautiful soul.
I love the
Everything
way
about
she
her, her
walks.
wisdom, everything, and just her as an
Yes.
actress.
In the shade.
I absolutely love her. I love that she raised the Duke, and she's like always willing to fight for him. I just love her.
She said, "Did you bring the bar with you, boy?"
Yes.
The lines.
Yeah,
It's
she
the
was
lines.
amazing.
Yes.
She's
She's
gonna make sure
committed.
he a good man.
Committed.
I'm curious to see how he
Love
would
it.
be as a father.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, real quick. The last scene, the waltz. It's really a gallop, but
Yeah.
was that not it is. It's in 4/4 time. Anyways, I can
Oh, when
go.
she blocked them from coming onto the dance floor after it rained?
No, before it rained, they're doing the gallop and the music is going in like a carousel, and then it starts raining, and that is the breakthrough of them as a couple.
I love that scene.
And the queen like walks away smirking.
Because it hit
Yeah.
her
Love it.
too.
Yeah.
That whole ending, like the second half of that episode is just amazing to me. Oh, one more thing. The Bumblebee.
Yeah.
What does that
I looked that up.
The Bumblebee.
So
because you see it in the
it's
first
a
episode, and
reference
then you see
to
it at the
the novel. Edmund Bridgerton's death was caused by a bee sting in the books. And that event had a long lasting impact.
Oh.
Because I sure was wondering about that. I was like, I gotta ask. But I didn't research it, so.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but that makes a lot of sense. Well, y'all, in the meantime, thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned and look out for our next binge-worthy episode.
Bye.
Bye.